My people, what's going on? It's your boy Alexander, back with another video. I'm gonna be honest, I need to talk to y'all guys today. You know, it's today has been one of them days. All right, today has been one of them days that I talk about here in the videos where it can't always be how you want it, right? It can't always be pretty, it can't always be smooth. You know, there's gonna be bumps in the road, and there's gonna be times where you feel like, you know, you should quit. There's gonna be times where, you know, it feels like, is it even worth it, right? And in those times, in those moments, is where your true character is being tested, because you know the mission, you know the purpose, and you know that quitting, you know that giving up is not part of who you are or who you want to be. You know, so super important in these tough days, you push. Okay, you think clearly about the goal. And like I said, today was one of those days for me, you know. And something else that has been, you know, lingering on my mind today, I've been feeling a bit anxious. You know, I've been feeling like there has just been this like overwhelming, like, you know, just like tightness almost in my chest. And I've been, you know, my mind's been racing today. And a large part of it has to do with my work, right? And I know that a lot of you people that are watching this can easily relate, you know, especially if you're in a position or, you know, a job right now that doesn't necessarily align with your purpose. It can feel draining, right? Or it can cause, you know, anxious feelings within yourself. And it's super important that you spot these things out, right? Because I know for me, right, I was super grateful to have the job that I got now, right? When I got it, like, I was super grateful. I had been wanting, you know, something along the lines of what I'm doing, and I still am grateful for it to this day. Don't get me wrong. You know, I get to go to work, right? Like, I have a job, I have, you know, financial stability, right? And I have the ability to do what I want. And, you know, it can be worse, right? It can definitely, my situation can be worse, you know? With that being said, right, for the type of person that I am, I need something that is gonna constantly push me, right? I need something that is constantly going to force me to get better and to grow, right? And a large portion of why I make these videos is for that exact reason, right? I'm doing this to not only communicate with you guys, right, and just give perspective. You know, you might hear it from another person or whatever the case is, but the whole point of these videos is to, you know, a lot of you may watching may just relate to me, right? You may just really relate as to what's going on, or you might be on this same journey that I am, and, you know, it might feel good that you've got somebody that is, you know, you feel like you're not alone in it, you know, and that's the whole point, is we're able to tap into these energies and utilize it, right? It's power. Like, we've got power, and the more people that you have working towards a specific goal or, you know, a purpose, the easier it is to get done. You know, you've got power behind it, right? Now, back to the whole conversation about work, right? Working a job that feels unfulfilling can lead to, you know, anxiety. It can lead to, you know, that feeling of like, what's next, right? What is next for me? I know it is super important that whatever role you're in, right, master the skill as to whatever you're doing, right? Become very knowledgeable about what you're doing, and take that skill, you know, that you have learned, that you just have been developing and working on. Take it with you, right? And that's something that you can you know, just put into your, you know, your character, right? Like you had the ability to master this skill, or you know, you deal with people, right? You know how to effectively communicate or manage people, right? Whatever it is. So when you're going through this transitional phase, right, you can be feeling anxious, right? You can be feeling anxious a lot of the time, and a lot of that has to do with the feeling that, you know, the role you're in is just not supportive of who you want to be, right? So it's important that you guys are firstly aware, right? But also use that anxious energy, use that feeling that you have of anxiety to guide you into your next phase, okay? And what I mean by that is, take it for an example. You might be feeling like, you know, you're really good at what you do, but you just don't feel challenged, right? You don't feel that, like, you don't feel like your job is bringing the best version of you out, or you might have hit the top of the mountain and now there's just like nothing else to work towards, right? And that's super like common when it comes to corporate jobs. It's your growth opportunity is almost like predefined, you know, like there's structures to it, there's levels to it. For someone who is guided by ascent and by like ascension and is constantly looking to level up, that can be draining, right? That can be very draining. So use that energy that you have, that anxiety, right? That feeling of anxiousness, use that to guide you into your next step, okay? Identify your skills, right? Identify what you're good at, right? Think about what roles, you know, your skills can be amplified in, or think about what role, right, that you want, that you need to, you know, what other skills do you need to work on to get the role that you truly want, all right? Or if your goal is to become a business owner, entrepreneur, right? What does it take to be an entrepreneur, right? What other skills do you need to develop to get to that point, right? And take yourself outside your shoes for a minute and analyze, right? You know yourself better than anyone knows you, right? You know truly deep down, if you're being accountable and you're being real with yourself, you know what you got to work on. You know what your strengths are. So it's up to you to find the next step in that, right? And I'll be honest with you guys, super transparent. When you're going through this transitional phase, it's sometimes not gonna always feel that clear, right? It's not always gonna be, like I said earlier in the video, like it's not always gonna be pretty. It's not always gonna feel like it's just boom, 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 right? But if you've been putting the work in and you have been constantly sharpening your sword, right? Sharpening your iron, the opportunities, the clarity that you've been looking for, the growth, it's coming, okay? It's coming. Stay vigilant, right? Stay focused on the actual goal itself, right? And stay grounded. Stay grounded. Like, super important when you are feeling these things, that is when you should be leaning in the most to what actually works for you. Right? We talk about groundwork, we talk about meditation, we talk about prayer, right? These are the things that you need to be relying on heavily in this time, because this is going to be what guides you and where you get your answers from. Okay? If going through a transitional phase as well, you might also be experiencing a lot of dreams. Okay? And I'm gonna save dreams, as you know, for another topic for another day, but dreams are the gateway to your unconscious mind. All right, dreams are where you find out more about yourself in a different reality. Okay, so if you've been having a lot of dreams, and you know, maybe about people from the past, or just like uncommon environments, or even, you know, places you regularly go, keep a log of these things. Okay, when you wake up and you remember your dream, you know, because sometimes they disappear, right? Sometimes they just slip right out your brain. When you remember your dreams, write them down. Okay, keep a journal by your bed, write them down, or speak it into your phone. Okay, like that's normally what I do. I just simply talk directly into I go to my notes, and I put the microphone in. That way I can just talk into my phone. I say my dream, and that way, boom, it's all logged. So if I wanted to go back later and reread it, it's all there, right? And there's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of different things in your dreams that you'll find out about your current situation, or it might give you a bit more clarity about what's going on in your day-to-day life. All right, try to pay attention to how you feel in your dreams, right? If there's key events that happened in the dream, remember how you felt in a specific moment, right? Again, I don't want to touch too much on dreams, but you know, like I said, another video for another time. But yeah, guys, it's not always going to be pretty. All right, just know that the work you have been putting in doesn't go unnoticed, right? We don't do this to be flashy. We don't do this to look good for other people. We do this because it's what's required for us and for our growth. All right, so always keep that in mind. Stay focused, right? Pray, meditate, tap into your power, right? Keep showing up for yourself, hold yourself accountable, and soon enough things are going to prosper, and your world, your identity that we've been working on, it's all going to come into fruition. And soon enough, your outer world is going to reflect all the work that you have been putting in on the inside. All right, I love you guys. I'm grateful that I'm able to post these videos and just, you know, talk and, you know, maybe spark your curiosity a bit. But I hope you guys, like I always say, I hope you guys have been taking care of yourselves. And I hope that you continue to keep working on yourselves, continue to go with the journey. And when times get hard, do not quit on yourself. All right, do not quit on yourself. You got yourself more than anybody else could ever have you in this world. Don't forget that. There's gonna be a lot of people holding you back. There's gonna be a lot of people that don't support your growth. Respectfully, let them go. Respectfully. All right, I love you guys, and until next time.